interquartile range. That's upper quartile minus lower quartile. And it's only going to be an estimate because we don't know the exact values of all of these people. We're just going to assume that they're evenly spread across their classes. That's a reasonable estimate because some of them are going to be lower than the middle, some are going to be higher than the middle. So upper quartile. Now the quartiles are the 25th percentile, the 75th percentile. In a formula, we use n plus 1 divided by 4. That tells us which value is our lower quartile. And then to work out our upper quartile, we times this by 3. N is equal to 48. So I put 48 into this formula. And I get 40, let's put that into a calculator, 48 plus 1 divided by 4. And I get 12.25. Just going to take note of that. And then I times that by 3. That tells us our upper quartile. Our upper quartile is going to be 36.75. Now these represent the data points in which it lies. So if I was to put all these 48 in order, it's going to be the 12.25th value. So in between the 12th and the 13th value, but a quarter way in between them. And then the 36.75th value. Now to work out where they lie, like where do they lie on this line here, we need to work with these frequencies. Now to go from a histogram to a frequency, we do the class width times by the frequency density. So if we do a class width of 5, and we times that by our frequency density, 5 times 1.6, that's equal to 8. Remember in histograms is the area, which determines the frequency, and that's what we're basically calculating here. This one's actually going to be exactly the same because it's half the height but twice as wide. To verify that with a calculation, 10 times 0.8 also gives you 8. And then 10 times 1.2 is 12. 20 times 1 is 20. So these are our frequencies within each of these classes. To work out where 12.25th value is, it's going to be within this second class. And I can tell by subtracting 8. So if I took off that 8, I've already counted those 8. And then I'm starting to count within this one, but I don't get to this class here because this is 16 in total. That's greater than the 12.25, so it must lie within this one. Now I want to work out how far within this one it is. So if I do 12.25 minus 8, then that tells me that we have a remainder of 4.25. So it's probably about halfway through this class. Now at 4.25, that is a frequency. There's 4.25 data points. So 4.25 out of 8. That's basically the fraction of the way we are along here. 4.25 over 8, and that's of 10, because we've got a class width of 10. That's going to give us how far along we are, and we want to add that onto 5. Because we're starting at 5, and we get our lower quartile as 10.3125. Probably don't need to be that precise because we're only doing an estimate, but for the purposes of a calculation, I'm going to do it exact. And to find the upper quartile, we're going to do a similar method. So this time we're looking for the 36.75th value. So if I start taking off these frequencies to see how far I am within 36.75, I take off this 8, I've still got some left. I take off another 8, so I've still got some going here. I take off another 12, and that tells me that we have an extra 8.75, and that's within this category here. So again, I'm going to set up a fraction. I'm going to have 8.75 out of 20 this time, because there's 20 as our frequency, times that by the class width, which is from 425 to 45, that's 20. And this time we're going to add it to 25. So 25, add all this. Just to go over what we're doing again, we've worked out the frequency within this frequency we are, so we're 8.75 within it. And we're working out as a fraction, so this is how far through we are. For example, if I had 10 people and I was looking at the 5th value, then that's going to be the 5th out of 10 in total, or halfway through. And we're timesing that fraction by the class width to work out how far along we are. adding that to 25 because we want to add that distance on. And that gives us 33.75, which is our upper quartile. If we take away our lower quartile, which is 10.3125, then we get 23.4375. So that's an estimate of our interquartile range, but we've been quite exact with our estimate. So we probably didn't need to quote it that precisely, but another way you could have done this, maybe a little bit quicker, is just because it's an estimate, we don't have to be exact. So when we think about a quarter of the way through, a quarter of 48, that's a bit easier, 12th value. So we can do 12 minus 8, that gives us 4. We must be halfway through this one here. So we get a lower quartile of 10. And then our upper quartile, that's 3/4, which is going to be 3 lots of 12, 36. I do 36 minus 8 minus 8 minus 12. I'm 8 within this one. 8/20ths of the way through. I have a class width of 20, so I do 8 over 20 times by 20. Gives me 8, which we add on to 25. I get 33. 33 minus 10, we get 23. And this is very close to the estimate we had down here.